Hello. Where are
Hey,
you? You in New Jersey?
I am somewhere in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay, that works. Um, but you still took time to read comics.
Of course, because I mean, even on vacation, I can enjoy some comics.
So let's see here. What book do you want to start with? You want to do the annual?
Yeah, let's jump into Guardians of the Galaxy.
There we go. Nope, not Adventures in Babysitting. There we go.
I am not prepared to talk about that movie.
I'm always prepared to talk about Adventures in Babysitting, but just the decom version. What's your take here?
Yeah, so this was the one that I started off with today, and I was very surprised by everything about this comic. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then you see this cover, so it already threw me off. And surprisingly, this is going to be my pick of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, this really, I did not expect that for myself at all. And then I found myself laughing out loud multiple times throughout this issue. It was hilarious. I think maybe the funniest comic we've ever done on this show. And I mean, a ridiculous new-ish character. And we get his whole ridiculous backstory. And about 2 pages into it, you realize, oh, okay, this is not taking itself seriously at all. It's an absolutely just insane comic. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I was surprised because there was not a character that I've traditionally cared about in this comic book. In fact,
yeah,
the first comic character I remember going like, wow, I do not care about them was Hercules. And it was just because he's just a whole lot of nothing. Like there wasn't anything there. He's always on the team to be the muscle, but like there's no real character arc for him typically.
Right.
So yeah, I would say it's surprising. It surprised me too. Probably to the point where I didn't get respected as much because it took, even though it was a long annual issue, I just felt like I was already predisposed to be bored that like I didn't even consider it. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from on this one.
Yeah, and it's not something that I would have read on my own. Like you said, I don't care about Hercules. He's never been one of my favorite characters. If you're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and giving it an annual, I would not expect to be reading about Hercules. But it's really about the other new character, and he's also not somebody I'm going to care about in the future. But this particular issue was just so funny that I had to give it my pick of the week.
Very good. So on to Earth's Mightiest Heroes with part 2 of World War She-Hulk. Also kind of tried to lean into the Black Widow, vibe that's currently going on. I would say this issue is interesting to me because it's the thing that usually happens off screen, but this time it happened like, no, we kidnapped this person and brainwashed them. Like that always is like a panel, but like here it went deep into it, which was unique. Yeah. I missed a lot of Jennifer Walters' arc in this, like when she really hulked out. Like I missed that kind of storyline. So I'm still kind of catching up as where she is, but it's definitely setting things up, but I think that's what kind of knocks against it is like there's not a lot that really kind of moves the story forward, except this is the thing. It was interesting to me to have the thing that normally you don't actually see, which is the brainwashing. Like, Bucky shows up and he's brainwashed. It's like so.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought that part up too, because I didn't realize, and they spell this out for you early in this issue. I didn't think about how personal this whole thing would be for Cap, with another one of his friends being, kidnapped and brainwashed by a Russian organization here, and yeah, so I thought that was a really interesting dynamic that plays out a little bit here, and I think we'll see some more of that play out in this story. I like this issue a lot, and I like where this story is going. It feels big, but it feels as though it could be bigger, given that World War Hulk was such a huge crossover event. It feels like this could have carried that weight, but it doesn't appear that they're going to be giving it that kind of treatment.
Yeah, well, it's weird whenever they name something after something else that's huge. Like, are they trying to go huge, or are they just being punny or whatever, branding.
Right.
But it's Avengers, and so it always feels like it should be huge. Like, you don't want a small scale Avengers story. I mean, maybe like an issue here and there where but like.
And usually that's more of the personal stuff where it's like this focuses on Cap and Tony or Carol and Jennifer, something like that. But yeah, I do like this issue. I like where the story is going. There was a lot of great action here. I like that you get to see almost each member of the team at work for at least a little bit. And seeing the Winter Guard fight with the Avengers was a lot of fun as well.
I'm still grieving Ursa Major.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw at the end where it teases that Gorilla Man's the only person that can save She-Hulk.
I mean, I'm very curious to see where this is going because they've set up some very interesting things.
Next, we have the next chapter in the Extreme Carnage arc, or I guess, I don't know what you call this event, comics, whatever. On Lasher, another symbiote I'm not super familiar with, but here he is.
And to be fair, that's a symbiote that I don't think anybody is super familiar with. It's not a whole lot of Lasher comics out there.
I guess that's what do you think?
I mean, no surprise here. I'm a big fan of what's going on with the symbiotes. That's always the case, pretty much. I like this story arc. I like the way this is playing out. It's very interesting the way that they're doing it. The titling: Extreme Carnage, Scream, Extreme Carnage, Anti-Venom, stuff like that, and then now Extreme Carnage Lasher. This doesn't feel necessarily like a Lasher comic. As I said, this character doesn't get a whole lot of the spotlight. And even in this issue, with this being his title, we still don't. We get some, but it's more still about Carnage, and it's more about Scream and Anti-Venom and all these other characters that are, and even Phage from the last issue. So there's a lot more going on with them. I really like this story and the way that it's playing out. It's dark. It's a very dark story for sure. It's gruesome. Although this one was probably not quite as bad as some of the previous ones, but it is definitely ultra violent. And some dark stuff happens with Lasher's host. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's like, I want to say like I enjoy it, but also like I made the mistake. Like I was a little bit behind because I was gone the last couple weeks, and so like I can only handle so much Extreme Carnage in a day.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I caught up, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." Here's my pick early.
Okay, gotcha. Well, one more point on Lasher, real quick. I just wanted to say that we get a debut of a new symbiote character, and I love the design of this character. I can't wait to see more of this character.
I'm torn on symbiotes. Like, what I like about this series is it shows the differences in them. Like, there was a time when I was just like, it was just like raining symbiotes, and you're like, it's like mutants. Like, they just don't matter anymore. There's too many.
Right, yeah.
But I like how this series is saying, no, Scream isn't the same as Carnage, as Lasher, as...
You get a little bit more of their personalities in this. And so Sinister War is your pick of the week. This was definitely close to mine as well.
We talked a lot about how like we weren't going anywhere Spider-Man for a while, and there was all these threads, and it feels like it's coming together. It's pretty clear where this is headed, I think. But I still think it's fun, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. Yeah,
I mean, the cover gives you the whole concept of this issue. This is just Spidey's entire rogues gallery on display here. I mean, there's a few omissions here and there, but the big players are all there. Some smaller players are all there. Some more recent characters thrown in. Everyone is on display here. And of course, it's Kindred pulling all the strings. And I love to see that. I like to see that he is still, being touted as this bigger, more important villain. And I really want to know what's going on, how this is going to play out with Peter and Kindred, and where this is all going. Like you said, we can kind of see where it's going, but I still don't know exactly how this is going to end. And for the first time in a while, like you said, we were kind of it felt like we were getting strung along with Spider-Man for a while, and now it's like I'm finally excited to get the next issue.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like to me, this is the last couple issues I've been gone,
yes,
but like have been a big turning point where it's like, okay, we're not just futzing around with Kindred monologuing for 4 issues, like
right.
we're actually getting somewhere, and so I'm excited to see where this goes. You know, it almost makes me miss Nick Spencer's run already, even though it hasn't ended.
I know. Yeah, well, hopefully we get that big finale as a send-off for him, because it seems like it's building that way, and that would be definitely well earned.
Speaking of Spidey, and I guess he's going to Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure this is the Epcot Pavilion of Paris. Like,
right.
Like, I feel like the Ratatouille show building's like right here.
Yeah, so this, to me, I mean, I don't know if we know exactly how many issues this series is going to be. I don't remember if they gave us the exact number, but these are kind of getting repetitive at this point. I do love the idea of them tying into the parks and Avengers Campus, and I mean, continuing that story here of them saying, oh, well, now we have to go to the new facility in Paris. Well, you know, we are getting Avengers Campus in Paris next. And so I love that they are doing that. But if somebody is reading these and they're not, you know, really up on what's going on in the Disney theme parks, then these are probably not the most entertaining comics, I would think.
No, I mean it's a marketing comic. It's not, you know, it doesn't take place in the 616 or whatever you want to call it. But you know, it's fun for. What I like about it is it's a good entryway for theme park fans to get into kind of a comic book storytelling. And I presume they're gonna, you know, do a collection of this and sell it at the park, which would be fun.
Right. Yeah, and again, I do like that it is providing more context for these theme park lands, and you know, there's just, I mean, there are fun characters involved too. It's always entertaining. It's just not like, you know, it's not a big exciting story that's building to. It does seem like it's starting to build to something a little bit bigger now, but it's still like each comic is sort of, you know, we got this team of individuals who are very smart and very egotistical, and then something bad happens and they have to work together, and then they solve it. And it's the same thing in each issue so far, and we'll see if that plays out into something bigger going forward. But I do have a question for you. Do you think this issue impacts what we will see in the parks? Because there's a character that we get at the end that hasn't previously been involved, and I'm curious as to how much communication there is between these two departments and how much they might impact each other.
Yeah, I really wonder. And I mean, this book has been delayed several times because of just this was supposed to open, you know, when the land was supposed to open, you know, over a year ago. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know what, as you know, as I was sitting there, things might have changed and stuff.
Right.
And so, I don't know. You know, I mean, it's not a coincidence that this takes place in Paris, where an Avengers campus is being built. So I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So I had the opportunity to see three episodes of What If on the Disney Plus show. Can't review it, but I can give my social reaction, which is, wow. Like, I was expecting kind of cute and silly. Like, I don't know, like if you've read What If. I mean, What If had different tones, but it's always like, what if Galactus, you know, ate the moon instead of Earth? You know, like weird stuff. And this goes really deep. I mean, much deeper than the comic really could, I think, because it's not, you know, just 32 pages of a one-off. It's half an hour. And you already have so much of the storytelling kind of in your head. You know what was supposed to happen. So, and episode 3 is mind-blowing. Just
I can't wait.
Forget What If. Just great story, even if it was just, you know, not a Marvel project. So
I'm so excited. I cannot wait for next week. I have not gotten to see any of these yet, so it'll be brand new for me. Do we know, is it one episode a week? What's the release schedule?
Yeah, it's one episode a week. Starting with Captain Carter here. And I attended the press conference, and they did say that Captain Carter is going to be the one whose story is told every season.
Okay.
Now, they were also very coy as to whether, well, every episode is going to stand on its own, But if this was somehow going to impact the MCU as a whole, or if this is completely different, they didn't just say, no, this is just a fun thing. They all just kind of grinned and winked. And so, if you're just, first of all, I sometimes I think MCU fans are like, well, if it's not part of the MCU, I don't want to bother with you, because it kind of got ruined by a lot of bad non-Marvel projects. It's not, obviously it's a different multiverse, but it's in the MCU. I mean, not to get too kind of metaphysical about it.
In the MCM, right? The Marvel Cinematic Multiverse.
Right. So, and forget it. Even if it's not in the MCU, this is still great stuff. So check it out. I thought it was going to be sort of like a breather from everything we had in Loki, and that big run we had starting with WandaVision. But no, this is great. Check it out.
Are we looking at half-hour episodes here? Hour?
Yeah, I think that it was like 31 minutes, 32 minutes, and 31 minutes or something like that.
Got it. That's what I expected.
Feels like a lot longer though, because it doesn't have to tell you everything, right? Like there's no, it doesn't say this is Stu's, it's not like a Captain America movie where you have to introduce Steve Rogers. Like some of where these characters are coming from already. The first two kind of make it clear as to what the change is, what happened,
gotcha.
Like why it's different, the Nexus event, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, you don't need to have why are they suddenly injecting people with like super soldier serum? Like, that from the movie. So it feels a lot longer because there's not a lot of wasted time not wasted is a terrible way to say it, but there's not a lot of like setup, just kind of goes into it.
Yeah, you don't need all of that. It makes perfect sense. Can't wait. I'm excited.
Next, we've got the new Shang-Chi poster.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this movie. I saw the poster, obviously. I haven't really gotten to examine too much of the detail into it, but I love all of the looks, the character costumes and everything. It looks just, not surprising at all, but visually just going to be a very impressive movie for sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 10 rings, apparently. Got
it, yes. It would have been very awkward if we found out this was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Nine Rings or something like that.
I know you have on the list Scarlett Johansson. I think we all know what's going on there. And, well, I should say we all know what has been announced there. But obviously there's too much going on behind the scenes for us to provide any intellectual sort of response to it. I think in the end we can all agree that they will work it out somehow. And this is just part of that process, unfortunately. But we wish both of them, the Walt Disney Company and Scarlett Johansson, a speedy resolution to their disagreements.
Yeah, just hoping for no burnt bridges there because they've created too much magic together. So,
and next we got Let There Be Carnage trailer, which I have not seen because I don't know.
What was that you were saying about some subpar non-Marvel project?
Yeah.
I will say this looks entertaining. It looks funny, but that's not necessarily what I want out of my Venom movie. I am definitely excited to see Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy. I think that casting is fantastic. He's a great actor. I love him in this role, and he crushes it in what we've seen from the trailer. So I enjoyed that part of it. I really want to see Venom done right. As you know, from watching this show, I'm a huge Venom fan. So, and huge symbiote fan in general. So I really want to see these stories played out the way they are in the comics. Doesn't seem like we're getting that in this movie here, but it should still be entertaining like the first one was, just not necessarily what us comic book nerds would like to see.
Speaking of entertaining, I don't know if you've seen the Disney Junior show, Spidey and Its Amazing Friends.
Not yet.
I cannot get that dang theme song stuck out of my head. So it's not, do not come with any canon baggage. Okay.
Sure.
This is just Spidey as a kid who hangs out with Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales. Miles goes by Spin in here to kind of differentiate him from Spidey. And, they go on adventures and they sort of battle the wimpiest versions of villains, which is appropriate for a Disney Junior show, but it's a lot of fun, cute, don't, do not. This is not What If, right? This is
right.
made for kids. Enjoy it for what it is. It is not. Do not come into it and be like, they didn't do Doc Ock right, because it's not like you're not going to have a murderous villain in a Disney Junior show. Just not going to happen. So,
my question was going to be, have they done Green Goblin yet? And if so, do they just hide Gwen Stacy the whole time, or what's going on there?
They had the Green Goblin, but he's more of like a scam, like almost like a Mixel-Pick kind of character.
Okay.
And no, they do not address the whole Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, that would be probably a pretty difficult storyline to tackle for a kids show.
But there's some new merchandise. Also, there's a photo op at California Adventure in the sort of Hollywood land section that's near Adventures Campus.
Yeah, it looks like right where the old Spidey photo op used to be.
So check it out, as I say, especially if you have kids. I mean, it's fun on its own. You don't need to be a kid to enjoy it, but don't be comic book guy and watch the show. Like, be a normal person and enjoy it for what it is.
I will say, I love this character design with the giant eyes. I think that's a really cool look.
We got some comic news about the Darkhold saga event.
Yeah. I saw this announcement and I was thrown off because they said 2 Darkhold tie-in issues, and I was like, wait, I don't remember a Darkhold event being announced. How do we have tie-in issues to something that's not happening? And then I realized we had the Doctor Doom and Scarlet Witch, which are, I guess, also tie-in issues. And it seems like basically they're just going about this the way they're doing Extreme Carnage right now. So it'll be like Darkhold Iron Man, Darkhold Blade, Darkhold Doctor Doom, and and so on. So this is awesome, though. I am excited for this because I love this concept. I'm very interested to see how this story is told. Are they going to be really? I mean, I know they're one shots with each character, but are they going to be completely separate of each other? Are they going to cross paths? I love that they are putting the Darkhold in the spotlight because obviously we saw it in WandaVision. We are going to see more of it, we would think, in the MCU. So I like the idea of providing more context for this book and the power that it has. Just
don't read it. Like, you can read the comic book, but if you see the Darkhold, don't read it.
Yeah, if there's a page where you can see the Darkhold and you can read some text on it, just don't read it, especially not out loud. Just avoid it altogether.
It basically turns into the plot of the Care Bears movie. I don't know if you've seen that.
I was thinking The Mummy, but yeah, I guess we got on 2 different pages there, but I guess kind of the same concept.
If anyone's seen the Care Bear, fun fact: the Care Bears movie made more in its opening weekend than Great Mouse Detective. And then finally on the comic book side, Fantastic Four anniversary. I've been reading comics too long that there's always a Fantastic Four anniversary. Right. But the 60th anniversary is coming for tribute this November. And, it's going to be one of those giant size with creators and everybody in it. And like a bazillion people.
Yeah. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see the full cover, this recreated, not that one, actually, the first, there you go. The first Fantastic Four cover remastered here, basically, and looks awesome. I love this art. So yeah, I mean, just like you said, just another celebratory comic for the history of the Fantastic Four. Should be fun. Nothing groundbreaking, and probably not going to be leading to any bigger stories going forward. But if you're a Fantastic Four fan, definitely.
I caught up. I mean, you guys read it while I was gone, but
yeah,
there's some good stuff going on in there.
Oh yeah. Last week was a lot of fun, and I mean, I mentioned last week too, not even just the Fantastic Four issue, but we got a lot of Doctor Doom last week. Mm-hmm. One moment in particular that I need in the MCU or just on screen in general in some way, I can explain that more later. But I really enjoy what's going on with Fantastic Four right now. So, and I think that Fantastic Four anniversary issue is probably one that fans will want to pick up an actual hard copy of. Go the Mike C route and not digital, and add that to your collection.
Yeah, it just makes it hard when you have to do a show at 1 p.m. when you're got to read all the comics.
Right.
So anything you want to add before you go?
Oh man, I am just so excited for What If, and it was very, very difficult to not be watching the screeners for it in advance. I am itching to watch that first. Now, especially the third episode is what I'm really chomping at the bit for. But
this is what happens when you take vacation.
It's true. That's a fair point. No, I'm really excited for it. I mean, like every other Marvel project, just counting down the days until its debut now. And you know what we didn't talk about on here, and I don't think we mentioned last week, I think kind of happened in between, was we got a date for Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah.
November 24th, is it, off the top of my head? I believe that's
it's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so
yeah,
it's probably more important. You can.
Your thoughts on what that means for the schedule, because we were promised Miss Marvel would also be coming out this year, and
I wouldn't say we were promised. I would say we were told, which I would say Ms. Marvel is not coming out this year.
Yeah,
I would say that was kind of their subtle way of saying it's not coming out this year.
Yeah, it seems like probably back to January at this point is my
which is fine. Because I think what will probably happen is you'll get Hawkeye for a couple weeks, whatever it is, then Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, true. Yeah. Back end of the year is going to be very busy. I mean, especially we've also got.
I can't wait to be busier. Like I was just thinking, wow, we're so bored. We have nothing to cover.
Right. We've also got Eternals coming out in November, right? And then Spider-Man in December.
And we're just a couple of weeks away from really getting the first reactions to Shang-Chi.
Yes. Yeah, we're getting very close to that as well. So lots of stuff coming up. We knew for a long time that the back half of this year was going to be packed with Marvel stuff. And then you mentioned Book of Boba Fett as well, and I totally forgot about that. So definitely excited for that as well. It's going to be a very action-packed last few months of this year.
Mike.
It's funny because you get those moments. It's basically it's just adrenaline, right? Like we have these 6 episodes and a movie, and we're just like all pumped up, and you go through all of that. We talk about it, and then after that, we're just you just crash.
I just got an email that Disney Animation's opening up a studio in Toronto, and in the email she says, "Hey, just note, that we're adding to Burbank too, because we're just going to be making a whole lot more." And I'm like, yay. More. I was just thinking, I'm so bored.
Yeah, definitely busy. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, we will be back next week. I have no idea what's coming out next week. Presumably comics.
Yeah.
And we'll talk What If. We'll have Becca here.
Yes. Yeah, I can't wait to be able to talk about that first episode.
What if? What do you think the first What If is?
Like, what is the first episode?
What is the sentence? What if blank happened? And I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
Now I feel like I'm going to be overthinking it. I assumed it was just what if Peggy Carter received the super soldier serum.
That's not it. Now that is caused by all this, but that is not the instigating event.
Interesting. All right. I'm excited. You have me even more intrigued by this series, which I didn't think was possible.
So we'll see you next week, unless we end up stuck in some multiverse. And Dormammu's everywhere.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.